2 days before the country turns 250, about 200 Guard members stood in Meridian Hill Park and were told what they had won. Stephen Miller told them that in 12 months the crime rate in Washington had gone from among the highest in the world to the lowest recorded in the history of the capital. That is a big claim, so let's do what an after-action report does first. Let's start with the dates, because these dates do not line up. Here is the claim, word for word, so nobody says I bent it. At the ceremony, Miller said the deployment produced the largest, fastest, steepest reduction in violent crime achieved in any city anywhere in this country since crime data has been recorded. He called it the single most successful public safety initiative in the history of this country. Hold on to the shape of that. The greatest anywhere, ever. Now we go check it against the record. So let's read the timeline the claim erases. On December 21, 2024, the U.S. Attorney for the District announced that violent crime had fallen 35% for the year. That is 3,388 incidents against 5,215 the year before, with homicides down 30%, a 30-year low. Those numbers come by way of Fox News reporting at the time, so nobody can call this a hostile source. Mark the date, December 2024. Now hold that date next to the other one. The National Guard deployed to Washington in August 2025. That is more than 7 months after the historic low was announced. Read it plainly. The record the White House is pinning on the troops was set, announced, and printed while the troops were still home. You cannot credit soldiers for a victory that was already in the books before they arrived. So what did the deployment measurably do? The most rigorous look at it from the Niskanen Center is blunt. The Guard's presence had no measurable effect on violent crime. Its one measurable effect was a 24% drop in opportunistic property crime, concentrated in tourist and commercial zones. The city's crime wave had peaked back in July 2023 and fell steeply through 2024 and into early 2025 before a single Guard boot was on the ground. And here is the number that lands the hardest, because it covers the deployment months directly. The police department's own dashboard shows that so far this year, assault with a dangerous weapon is up 46% over the same stretch last year. That is 615 incidents against 422. So at the very hour the ceremony was declaring the steepest violent crime reduction ever recorded anywhere, the department's own weapons assault line was pointing the wrong way. Then there is the bill for all of it. The deployment ran roughly $185 million for the first 5 months. That works out to $607 a day per Guard member, against $384 a day for a DC police officer. A premium of about 60% per body for a presence the best study says moved property crime near the monuments, and nothing on violence. That is the whole measurable return. Pickpocketing at $607 a day. At the same ceremony, the Defense Secretary said there was nothing political about this exercise. The soldiers' own states described something else. Kentucky recalled its Guard member after he was diverted to a federal crime task force without the governor's consent. Michigan sent more than 160 troops strictly for event safety, then watched them get filmed patrolling Georgetown and DuPont Circle, a mile from any celebration site. 19 former senior military and defense officials wrote the governors this week, urging them not to send troops at all. Now, I am going to be fair, because a report that only tells one side is just a press release with worse manners. There are honest numbers here, and a fair defender could cite them. Total crime in the city is down 22% so far this year, and homicides are down 45%. That is real, and it is genuinely good news for the people who live there. The correction is not the drop. The correction is the credit. So here is the after-action report, and I am not going to soften it. The historic low was announced in December 2024, 7 months before the Guard arrived. The best study finds no violent crime effect. The sharpest trend during the deployment, weapons assaults, points the wrong way. And greatest in any city, ever, is not a claim the government's own data supports. The crime drop is real, and it belongs to the police, the prosecutors, and the city that did the work before the soldiers ever showed up. The troops on the mall tomorrow deserve a country that tells the truth about what it asked them to do. The report is short. They were handed credit for a victory that was already won before they arrived by a government that will not show its math. That is not the greatest crime drop in history. That is a ceremony standing on a number it did not earn. Read the timeline, not the ceremony. I'm Mark, and this is Pixel Politics.